All right, what's happening, plebs? We out here with our Nationals 2017 postmortem kind of, analysis thing that we do every event. So we've done the one for Euros, and here we're joined by Pro Play Games' Patrick Hoban, the fan favorite, of course. And of course, our new national champion, which you cannot see currently, but it will have to be seen with the little blue figure here for now. So we've got Chester Henson here, the first place new national champion. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Patrick, can you say something? I think your audio cut out a bit.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, you're good. Okay. Yeah. So we're just gonna talk about essentially the whole tournament. Go through your guys' lists and stuff. Gonna start chronologically. So first and foremost, diving right in. Coming into this event, we had Euros was prior to this. I think that was probably like the most major thing to really take away from the new format, was that's really all we kind of had to go by, what was setting the tone kind of thing. I don't know if you guys followed Euros at all or checked out the deck lists, but what was your thoughts coming into the tournament, like in terms of your deck building and your deck choices? If we start with deck choices, Chester, tell us, like, how did you end up with what you played?
I originally started with actually Patrick Hoban's deck he played at the ARG Atlanta, I believe. It was the True King Zoo deck.
Mm-hmm. So I've got it up on screen just now for anyone on Twitch that wants to see it. So yeah, we've got his list up here. You guys did end up playing fairly similar lists, but yeah, walk us through it.
Okay, after I tried out the True King build of Zoo, I was just like, it's probably not going to be good enough for the 18 rounds that this Nationals tournament had. So I chose this True Draco Zoo version. I didn't want to use just, I don't know, like just Masterpiece and like a few of the spell and traps. It just wasn't like good enough. So I wanted to max out on some of the better True Draco cards and play just a little bit of the Zoo cards. So that's why I played the 3 Dynamite and the 2 Ignis. 2 Ignis was, I had originally tried 3, but when going first, I found that like it's just not as good. But when going second, that card is just absolutely phenomenal, of course. So I tried to find a balance, and I came up with the 3 Dynamite, 2 Ignis. Let's see, the 3 Masterpiece. I was playing Desires in the build, so I when I was testing it, I kept banishing like at least like 1 or 2 of them. So I kind of wanted to play the 3rd to like see it and like not banish all of them off of my Desires. So that's that, and it never really clogged for me in that, so it was fine. Let's see what else.
I guess we get to take a look at your side deck, since both of you played pretty much the exact same extra. Oh, actually, I see you've got a Cairn Gorgon here. What's that about?
Yeah, funny story about that. So the night before, I needed a 15th extra deck card, and I couldn't decide what to play. So going through my stack of cards, I found a Cairn Gorgon, and I was like, oh, well, this is all right against the True Draco Demise decks, and then like Pure Zoo, it's fine because Trident targets and all that stuff, so you're able to redirect that and all that junk. So, and Chalice, of course, people were playing that. So I just put it in, and it actually won me the 3 times that I summoned that card. It won me every time, so it was pretty good.
That's an interesting choice. I mean, I feel like it doesn't work on Twin Twister, right? It's just on single target.
It doesn't. But it also works on Cosmic Cyclone, which was a very popular card people sided against me, considering I was playing the 2 Draco cards.
All right, your side deck looks, I guess, pretty standard for what you would really want for this kind of deck. I mean, you chose not to play any Ash at all whatsoever in your main or side. You got 2 and 2 back row destruction. Everything else looks fairly standard, but yeah, your hand trap choices was 3 Ghost Ogre. I'm assuming that was just for pure, right?
Essentially, yes. But the deck has too many outs to just that card, so I stopped siding it in at that point. I only opted to side in against, you know, the true Draco decks. Hitting diagrams pretty good. Even hitting like the spell and traps when they're going first to kind of like stop, like stunt them for a little bit was okay. But throughout the course of the tournament, I just found that card was just not as good because the deck doesn't really have a hard time with, I guess, answering what like their board like makes, because like the board, like the deck just breaks boards pretty easily. So I stopped siding it in after a while. So it was very lackluster.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't play Ghost Ogre for that reason. I sided 1, but I really sided it as more of a 4th Ash, just because against the Draco decks, I thought that stopping Heritage was really important. But other than that interaction there, I didn't like particularly want any hand traps.
So I'll just let you take a look at Chester's main deck, Pat. Like, just looking at this, like, you guys pretty much arrived at the same conclusion that this was going to be the best deck for this event. Is there anything particularly here that you don't like of Chester's deck, or something that you think is really good, or, you know, any sort of like thoughts on it specifically? Because I think yours was quite different for the main deck.
Ours are pretty similar. I guess the biggest difference was he played more of the traps and I played barriers. Other than that, it's pretty similar.
Yeah. Just for the stream here, I've got Pat's list up on the screen just now, so you guys can take a look at it. Let me just share my screen with you, Chester, so you should be able to like see his list now. So you should be able to. Do you see Pat's list up on screen?
No, I don't.
If you open up the Skype window, like just where you were before, you should be able to see it, right? You should be able to see my screen.
I see your Skype picture. That's it.
Man's running like a Skype trial version or something. All right. Anyway, forget it. Yeah. I'll send you the picture of it on Skype. But yeah, Pat, run us through your deck real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty similar to what he played. Like I said, the biggest difference is probably I played barriers, just because I thought it was really good going first or second. I also had those swapped ratios of Ignis and Dino, just because I felt like if I was going first, like I was probably already doing a lot of good things anyway. So I really wanted to like focus more on, you know, when I was forced to go second, and Ignis is like super good going second. But granted, it does suck going first, which is why I ended up siding the third Dino, so that anytime I went first, I could side in the third Dino and take out 2 Ignis.
You're playing 3 Desires. I think a lot of people might have been uncomfortable with that number, but how did you find like maining like the maximum copies of Desires?
I liked it. Card spot agreed.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I really did want it in every hand. Like, I felt like I was going to win, like, every single time I had it in my hand.
Yeah. And for your side deck, you've got... so I think, like you said in your original deck profile, you wanted just 4 hand traps for going second. Am I correct?
Not even just for going second. I really just wanted them to hit Heritage. If anything, I actually think Ash is, like, more important in, like, a mirror match like this when you go first. Because what ends up happening is you'll set up a board and then they'll play, you know, their Heritage and draw off your trap and, like, you know, whatever guy you tributed. So they'll draw 2, and if they put a spell in there, they'll end up drawing 3. But you can't really draw 3 going first, and rarely can you even draw 2 off Heritage going first. So I don't think the Ashes are as important for when they're going first and you're going second. I think they're more important for like when you're going first and need to stop their Heritage as like their counterplay to what you did.
I think Ed's just joined us here. Can you hear us, Ed? Almost. Hello, Ed. Okay.
Oh, hello. Hi. What's up?
There you are. Hi. What's up? Thanks for showing up on time as usual.
Yeah.
So Yeah, we were just looking. Okay, so what you've missed so far, we were just looking through Chester and Pat's deck lists. Right on cue, we're going to take a look at yours now. So are you ready for this, Ed?
Yeah, I'm just fixing my camera because I don't know how
Okay.
to do this.
Have
Hi.
you have you
Oh God. Yeah.
have both of
So-
you guys, Pat and Chester, have you guys seen Ed's list?
No, I haven't.
I have not.
Okay, so I'm going to screenshot it to you real quick, and I'm going to send it to you on Skype. For those on stream, you should be able to see this. I want to call it a mess, but this is Ed's deck list that he took to this tournament and came top 64 with. So, oh yeah, shout outs to Team Jobber for having Ed on here, but yeah. So Pat and Chester, if you guys can check this, the chat there, you should be able to see Ed's list now. Right, walk us through this, Ed.
Well, I knew Diagram was, I think, the best cards in the game were like Diagram, Card Demise, and like the Zoo Engine. So I kind of wanted to play all of them, if that made sense. At first, I started with just Diagram and Zoo cards, and because I was playing True Draco Demise literally for like weeks, like before the event, and I thought it was like really easy, but it was only good against people that didn't really understand like the matchup. Like if I chose to go second, obviously you make Dweller and stuff like that. So, and I feel that was like the best way to play True Draco Demise, to go second. But I had to make a deck that was good going first, but still could play True Draco cards. So I ended up playing the Zoo Engine, because like stuff like Rat Diagram is just unfair. It's like an auto win button, and that was the main issue with True Draco Demise. So I just ended up playing Zoo cards, and I don't know. I feel like Card Demise is like a card that increases your ceiling, even though you don't get a special summon, if that makes sense. Like it's like an extender. It's like My Body Has a Shield, or like Soul Charge, or like Shuffle Reborn, where if they stop your play, you can keep on going. And that's why I played it, because a lot of the cards like Shuffle Reborn, Enemy Controller, stuff like that, all play in a barrier. But then when you get Card Demise, when you get barriered, you can still like Card Demise, or when they try to stop your play, you can still hold on to Card Demise and still win like that. Like the idea was, if you don't need a Card Demise, you're gonna win because you have a bunch of Zoo cards. But if you Card Demise, you're just gonna beat your opponent, because a lot of people just can't beat that card resolved. So that's why I ended up on this kind of list.
I think my biggest question is, how did this work with a deck that has Rapier and Barrage in the same list as Demise? Did you ever have like contradictory hands where it was just like, I kind of need to play True Draco, but I want to go for my Rat Engine? You know, it was like, did that not ever sort of conflict, or was it always like kind of a smooth sailing kind of thing?
Yeah, it was kind of just like really smooth sailing. Like the only way I would always focus like the Zoo Engine, but once you do like the full Zoo combo, you have no more Zoos left in your deck, because usually I don't make Emerald, I make Tornado Dragon. And then once you Demise, like you have literally, you're just playing a True Draco deck, and that's what I like about the deck. Like it really like switches its like role like really quick, and it looks really contradictory, but it plays a lot like Paleo, where if you you need Swap Frog and other cards to special summon, but then it's like an auto win button when you're losing. It's like a super big comeback mechanic. So like obviously you never Card Demise turn one. You always like try to break the board, then Card Demise. So yeah, it's like really contradictory, but then like Swap Frog and Card Demise is definitely a huge contradiction, but that was like a tournament winning deck. So I felt like it was the same kind of idea.
All right, that's fair enough. Onto your side, did you not feel like Gamma Seal and Ghost Ash like sort of conflicted with that at all?
Yeah, well, like the thing is with Gamma Seal, I felt like the biggest issue with my deck is it kind of can't beat Trap Monster Masterpiece, so I kind of needed a way to draw into it, and I needed just a card that I could just randomly play going second. And obviously with Card Demise, like you need it sucks that you'll draw Gamma Seal, but then more often than not, like just if you just have Gamma Seal in your opening hand, you'll like win. But then if you have Card Demise in your hand, you'll win. Like the only time it'll be bad is if you Card Demise into Gamma Seal. And Ash, like you have multiple tribute summons, so at worst you can like set the Ash, and then just keep tribute summoning and do stuff like that. It's just that you need to I needed a way to beat my opponent's demises usually. That's why I had my own Ash in my deck. Yeah.
All right. And your extra deck is pretty staple for this deck. You've got 4 one-off traps here. What's your line of thought for just the one Apocrypha, Quaking, Deflector, and Order?
Well, Order is like a one-of, so
yeah,
it's a powerful one-of, so you kind of have to play it.
Yeah.
And the problem with the deck is it's really hard to side out cards, so you can't side too many. So like Imperial Order and Deflector, they're not the same card per se, but they both do the same thing going first, where it stops Twin Twister, stops like a lot of the quick plays. So I would always side that in going first. I just wanted another card that acted like Order, but I couldn't side like infinite Deflectors, because if you side too many engine pieces, like the deck doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Apocrypha is like the same logic. Like Apocrypha and Quaking are also like the same card to me, where they're both good going second, but they both can be played around at different times. Like Apocrypha, if your opponent sees the first Apocrypha, it will never work again because they will always respect it. And then same thing with Quaking. So they're both like answers to established boards, and that's why I played both those cards like one-ofs. Because I wanted my opponent to like respect both cards, but then by respecting one of them, then they play into the other, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Chester and Pat, do you guys have any thoughts on Ed's list here? I just wanted to spend a little bit more time on Ed's list because this is kind of the more sort of unique one here, but yeah.
Kind of like the one-up factor, just because it's like with this deck you're drawing so many cards. Like it's so common to draw like 2 or 3 off Heritage, and then between your opening hand and then all those draws, like you often draw into like Desire. So it's like not uncommon to be drawing like 4 or 5 cards in a turn. So like I feel like you don't need to play cards in like a bunch of multiples to be able to see them. So I kind of like one-ups for that in this case. And Card of Demise even more adds to that point.
Chester, do you have any kind of talking points here for Ed's list?
Yeah, I was going to ask, how was the that Wind True Draco card for you? Did that like come in clutch, or was that card just a brick or what?
I felt like the True Draco cards are like really, really good going second because they all break established boards. And the biggest way of bricking is drawing multiple like spells and traps like going first. So I felt like the Wind Majesty Maiden like helps the deck a lot, because if you draw like multiple traps diagram, like it's rarely good. You know what I mean? Like what you're gonna do, like pop for Heritage draw card, and then you can distribute it, and then you have like multiple disruptions at least during your turn. And the biggest thing with the deck is Card of Demise. Majesty Maiden is the best tribute summon with Card of Demise because it lets you still add a card and tribute on your opponent's turn, but still, you know, like Card of Demise still discard your hand. So it's like really good, like turn 1. It's like the best one combined with the traps going first. So that's why I ended up playing.
Yeah, I didn't play the Maiden because I played fewer traps. I only played 2 and 1 for the traps, and like you really need a lot of spell and traps for the Maiden to be good. Like it's never like if you only just have like 1.
All right, so that's me gone through all of your lists now. The thing I wanted to talk about was like I think it's quite a coincidence that all 3 people that I got to come on here to talk about this all happen to be playing True Draco Zoo, but like statistically Zoo was the most played list, and it was the most played deck in Top Cut by a decent margin, not like super amount. But yeah, if we could just go through, like, you know, you guys arrived at the conclusion that True Draco was a good deck. You've told me why you like this deck, why you think it's really strong, why you think it's the best deck. What were the problems with the other decks that you considered for this tournament? If we just go through, like, you know, the like most likely deck you were to play, which I'm assuming for all of you would be Zoo, other than this deck, right? So if someone said to you, what would you play for this event? It'd be True Draco, and then your second choice would most likely be Pure. Is that fair?
I wouldn't touch Pure.
Oh yeah,
really?
I would never play Pure. Like,
okay. So what was like your closest deck that you chose to take to this event that wasn't the deck that you obviously took?
Man, everybody I was testing with kept getting mad at me because I kept trying to make metal foes work. It'd be like we'd sit down, we'd play for like 12 hours, and I would insist on spending like a minimum of 2 hours every single testing session trying to make metal foes broken. They weren't about it. I was trying to tribute combinations for Masterpiece. I thought it was the best ever. They weren't about it. I kept trying to do it every single time we tested, though.
How did it go? I mean, obviously not very well since you didn't play it, but I mean, was it
was
that bad or
until they had barrier?
Okay, yeah, that's a tough one.
That was kind of like the thing is like I really wanted to play Pendulum in general, and it was just like, man, this seems like the best deck, and then they flip barrier, and it's like, man, I can't get around this. So I guess I'll pass.
When you say Pendulum, do you mean like the Magician stuff?
Yeah, I tried that too,
Yeah.
but it has the same problem. It's great until they flip barrier.
That and Imperial Order and Expel.
Yeah, there was a lot of side cards. Chester, what was like the second kind of most likely deck you considered?
There was two actually. There was the Magician Pendulum deck, like Patrick's saying. It just had problems with people had barrier. Pretty much your turn ended. Imperial Order and Expel, pretty good cards. And the other deck, I was probably going to switch to, but decided to play True Draco, was the True King Zoo version. So the deck I
thought, like, I could never quite get it to the place where I wanted it, but I always thought that, like, man, this deck has the most potential.
Yeah. I played it at ARG St. Louis. I changed it up a bit. I opted to play the Win True Draco card, and it worked out really well. I mean, like, it sets up the like Masterpiece with a tribute trap or a spell or whatever, or it searched the other True King cards. Like, it was a phenomenal card. It tested really well. But I just barely missed top cut. I finished X2, but my breakers weren't as good. And then I kept testing it more because I was like convinced that it was really good, but it just isn't as consistent as I want it to be for 12 plus rounds. So I decided to play the more consistent deck.
Ed, what were your other deck choices for the event?
I said in the beginning that I think like the Mize Draco was like really like the deck I was super close to playing, but that deck doesn't really have many auto win cards besides like Skill Drain and Card Demise, so I didn't want to play that. The deck that I was stuck on forever, and I definitely wasted a lot of time on it, was like Invoked. I feel like that deck was like really good against Pure Zoo, but it could not defeat a Diagram. Like, it had no way of killing Diagram except with like engine cards. You couldn't kill it with engine card. So like, I had a real tough time, winning with that. And I felt like Pure Zoo was the easiest deck to beat. So why am I trying to play a deck that has a super free matchup against Zoo? But even then, like, eventually in testing, like, a lot of people kind of figured out what to do, and it stopped being good. So yeah, like Invoked and True Draco were the only two decks in my head, because I could not imagine playing like 12 rounds of Pure Zoo and then somehow making it to top 64 and then winning, not even winning dice rolls. Like, it's not really a dice roll format. It's literally like,
shoutouts to PPG.
If they have the answer to all your cards, then it's like useless, Like, if they have the Barrage, if they have not Barrage, if they have multiple extenders and you don't have anything, then you lose. And like, and then it happens where if I have multiple extenders and they just flip barrier, I lose. So like, why would I play a deck that like seems so fragile over 12 rounds? Like, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather just play like a bunch of decks with a bunch of auto win buttons where I just activate them and Zoo loses.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it was kind of different for the European Championship, because I feel like when Marcelo did it, it was like everyone else was going like normal summon their one Zoo. If it gets stopped, hope I have Barrage kind of thing. And then he comes in, playing, triple My Body. Maybe some of them were playing some of those, but he was going triple, double Shuffle Reborn, double Enemy Controller. It was just like, those are all basically more Barrages. And he was like one of the only people in the tournament doing that. And then I feel like after Euros, it kind of shifted and now everyone was doing that. So I feel like there was like zero advantage to be had with Pure Zoos anymore.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Ed, I wanted to ask you as well, because you had a lot of success with Paleo in the past. Surely you considered that Paleo for this event, because I know so many people who are on Paleo for this format, but just never like keep it. Yeah, it made its top cut. So
Well, that guy's deck was like super weird. It was like Paleo Zoo with like Bujin, Hiroke, and like
Yeah, it
a
was
bunch of cool
super cool.
cards. Yeah.
Instead of making Emerald, he'd make the Bujin guy and he'd mill 5, so he'd mill traps, and then he'd add the Pendulum guy off the Broad Bowl and make Bujin Tsukiyomi and draw into more. Like, it was cool.
Yeah, but I actually was testing Paleo a lot. Like, I was testing like every card with every deck that had Card of Demise in it, and Paleo was like one of the decks of choice. But the issue with Paleo is that it has a really, really good Zoo matchup, but a really bad Diagram matchup. So why would you play that deck? Because I feel every deck, if it's not Zoo, should have a huge advantage against Zoo. So it didn't make sense to play Paleo. And the other issue with Paleo is really, really good against Zoo, but it has a tough time winning. And in an event where there's time and there's everything, I could see myself not going into time every round, potentially just throwing away free wins like that. And that's my biggest issue with Paleo, that it can't win as fast as it used to, like against other decks. So that's why I ended up not playing it. Well, not even considering it.
Yeah, cool. I think we've wrapped that part up. So I just wanted to go back to the deck list really quick, so I'm going to bring them up on screen. So I was just going to ask, like, do you think you guys made any mistakes at all with your lists? Is there anything that you really just didn't like, or something that you really regret putting in here? I guess we should start with Ed, since we've got yours up here.
I kind of wish I played Thoroughblade, because it really fixes like the wonky hands of multiple zoos, but then also like I kind of just don't want to normal summon zoo monsters, if that makes sense. I only want to draw Barrage. That's the only card I want to draw. I never actually want to draw zoo monsters unless it's both Rat and Diagram. Besides that, I really liked my list. I don't really know if I would change anything. I really liked it. I wish I could cut it down to 40, but yeah, I'm not disciplined like that. I don't really know exactly what I would cut, because like the deck like super overperformed. Like the only reason why I lost in top 64 was I literally lost to Borbo in time when I was up 8 cards. So I felt like if it wasn't for that, then I would go a little farther. But yeah, I felt like my deck was like well suited and like well prepared for the event.
Okay, that's fair enough. I personally really like your deck. I thought it was a hilarious idea, and it actually, it clearly worked for you. So, on to Pat's list here. Is there anything that you particularly didn't like throughout the event that came up in your list, or anything that just kind of just didn't work as well as you thought?
Flying Sea sucked.
Yeah, you did mention that. I was gonna ask as well. How come you played 2? Like, surely Flying Sea is a card where you need to see it there and then, like in your opening hand. So surely you'd max out on it, because it's not like other cards where you could kind of afford to play less than. But whereas Flying Sea is like really good on like the first turn, and like that's kind of it.
I don't know. My friends and I were talking about how it's kind of like later. It's kind of better later, because it's like if they have Barrage and they can out it, then they can do that on their first turn. But then, like, if you drop it like turn 2, then they've already played their Barrage kind of thing. Plus, it's not like leaving Barrage on the field was ever really a big problem with this deck, because you're distributing spells.
Yeah.
Plus, you're drawing into so many cards, like I was saying, with Heritage and Desires and like Thoroughblade. It's like not uncommon to draw 4 or 5 cards a turn. Like, I feel like I'm playing the Fusion Substitute deck all over again when I'm playing this deck, and I don't want to be playing that many 3-ofs in a deck that draws so many cards, because you're just going to see multiples and they're just going to clog.
Okay.
Plus, I just don't want to side that many like cards against Zoo either. Like Ed was saying, you can't really take out many engine cards in this deck and still expect it to work. So I just don't want to side many cards per matchup.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I didn't really consider that Flying Sea would be sort of good mid-game as well, so I guess that's a pretty cool point. Chester, I think it goes without saying, you obviously don't regret anything you played because you're the national champion, but, I mean, was there anything that didn't really work out for you as well as you thought, or something that you just really didn't like?
Oh, man, actually, my entire side deck was... I regretted actually not main D barrier. I tested it in the main before, but I just opted to main the mash removal instead. It was fine during the tourney. When I drew Dark Hole Regeki, like just won me games. But the Forbidden Apocryphas were a mistake. I never saw that card the entire tournament. I opted just to side in the barriers instead. The Ghost Ogres I didn't really like. I should have played 3 Cosmic Cyclones and then took out the 2 Twin Twisters and played one other card. But I just couldn't think of anything, so I just opted just to play the 2/2 because Twin Twisters obviously almost just a blowout versus the Pure Zoo. But the deck has such an inherent good matchup against the deck anyways, so I just felt like I didn't need more cards, I guess. Cosmic Cyclone was just good enough, so that's just pretty much all I regretted. So
yeah, okay.
Oh, I didn't play the board wipes specifically because there were like 0 cards in my deck that made my body live, and I thought everybody was going to be playing 3.
yes, yeah.
I don't think anybody ever flipped my body on me the entire weekend.
I've had my body flipped on me maybe once or twice, but yeah.
Because you can also do cool things where if you just have like a random trap without a tribute summon and you have Dried It, you can like Dried and pop your trap and then have the trap pop their monster so they can't my body it.
My body, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Perfect, awesome. So for this last like 10-15 minutes or so, if the guys in chat, if you guys have any questions at all that you want to throw out here, semi-relevant to like the event, obviously. I don't think Chester cares about how your Crystal Beast deck works or whatever, you know. So keep it a little bit relevant to the format and stuff. Just throw out any questions about the list, about the event, anything to that kind of effect, and we can kind of talk about it for you guys. But yeah, so I just also wanted to go over a couple of things really quick before we go to the Q&A. So just really quickly, was there any sort of like notable matchups or like incidents or like kind of really cool plays and stuff that happened for you guys like throughout the tournament? You know, just like an example or two if you guys can think of anything notable. Obviously, you know, you all did really well when you got to top cut, but you know, was there anything that kind of sticks out in your mind that you did with your deck throughout the event? Chester, if you want to go first.
My round 10 opponent. Oh man! So in game 3, we were in time, and he made his Trident a hammer con play, and then he went to end phase for some odd reason, not saying any back row, and forgot to set his 4 traps that he had in his hand and lost that. So that was super free. So yeah, that was funny. And then my top 32 match against the Zombie Lightsworn player, if you didn't watch my feature match, that was a pretty interesting game. The guy was super cool. He told me after the game, actually, that usually when he loses to someone in top cut, that they end up winning out the entire tournament. So I thought that was pretty cool. Other than that,
I really like that guy's deck. I thought it was cool and stuff, but when I was watching it on stream, it was like he was doing all these crazy plays with Scorpio and making like huge boards, but it wasn't really doing anything. It was just like a board of like vanillas, like Kagasuchi.
Yeah. The deck that like they make it like a bunch of guys, but like they don't do anything.
Yeah, like, exactly.
It's just you make a Minerva. Oh, cool. Yeah, it sits there and gets like banished by a Whiptail, or it's just not as great. But I tested that deck a few once the ban list came out and Grass went to 1 because like there's a bunch of cool stuff you can play. It just wasn't good enough. But props to that guy for getting top 32. I mean, must have worked out for him. So
yeah. Ed, any notable matchups or incidents for you at the tournament?
Fun fact, Zachariah Butler, he asked me like 2 days ago before the event to send him a list, and he used card for card my main deck that I sent him, and that was cool. Also, my friend played card for card my Demise Draco Zoo deck. He made top 16. The most notable thing was 4 times in the tournament, I normal summoned Rat, activated the effect, and they Ghost Ogred. Then I set 3 and set a diagram, and then activated set 2, set the diagram, and activated card demise, and my opponent was really confused about what was happening. Like, it was so sick. It was literally the sickest thing ever. In top 32, I mean top 64, I normal summon the rat, and my opponent goes special summon Flying Sea. Then I go set 3, then I activate Demise, and then I tribute the Flying Sea for a masterpiece. And he was confused about what happened right there. Demise was literally the most like troll card of my weekend. It was super sick.
Patrick?
I guess the most notable thing is I didn't really like lose like any of my matches to like normal things. Like every single time I played like a regular pure zoo deck or a Draco deck or a Draco zoo deck, I won. My losses were like, so the first one was to like an actual mirror match with like the little guys and the zoo cards, which like, I mean, I know we all topped with it, but the deck only kind of really exists. It didn't really exist like, you know, going before this tournament. Like it wasn't really like played with all the little guys at the European Championship or anything.
Yeah, it did really terribly at the at Euros. I think like out of 64 places, it took like barely maybe 10 or something, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's just the masterpiece builds, not even the like with the like level 6 and level 5 guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't see too many people playing Ignis, because I mean that's just like Knuckle Fighter, I guess, was pretty standard, but yeah, it was just not really a thing, I suppose, for Euros.
Yeah, so my first loss was to like an actual mirror match with the little guys, so that was like a little off, and then my second loss in Swiss was so he was playing Pure Zoo, but he blew me out with XYZ Universe game 1. Like I had already used my Dryden effect, and I had to like special back a second Dryden off of Shackadine, and then I Tiger Mortared to put a material under it, and then he flipped XYZ Universe. So like he like got rid of both of my Drydens.
What did he make with it?
And he made the Red Eyes card.
Red Eyes, okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go for Kali Yuga.
Yeah.
You said what?
Sometimes people go for Kali Yuga, the DDD guy.
Yeah, yeah. And then my third loss was to like Paleo with, you know, basically just grass. But like, yeah,
you really lost to Paleo?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I look at his deck, I'm like, how many cards in your deck? He's like 60. So he draws his 5, and he's like, oh, I activate grass. No. So yeah, I got destroyed by that. But no, his deck was super, super cool actually. But yeah, so like I didn't actually like lose to any of the like normal decks. So I thought that was kind of cool because it was like built to beat all of those decks, and it like actually did that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into the question and answer. So if you guys could just answer these questions as quickly as possible, so we can get through as many questions as we can. So I got a question here for you, Ed. It says, did you really value the outing of Masterpiece with Gamma Seal rather than the blowout of Dark Hole?
I think they all said it, Chester and Patrick, where they said literally nothing in your deck besides maybe Dryden activates my body as a shield. So like the board wipes are really, really, really good, but I wanted to keep it that way. And that's the main reason why I didn't play Dark Hole at all, because I feel like it's only good going second, and it gets destroyed by my body as a shield. And I'd rather just have my opponent have as many dead cards as possible in their deck and make them hopefully miss side against me. So that's why I chose not to play it.
Yeah, it's also crazy how many times I saw my body like still in their decks, like games 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Usually when they had that in their deck, it was like really easy to win, because once you see one and they haven't done anything, you know the rest are just my bodies, and you can literally just work around that.
I think the idea is like against the True Draco deck, like my body deals with the Zoop engine and the Masterpiece pop as well, which is how pure Zoo outs Masterpiece, is by making a really big guy, and then if you protect that really big guy, then you can kind of kill it, I suppose, is the line of thought there.
I mean, against Pure Zoo, I'm tributing like spell and monsters though.
Yeah, always.
I'm only tributing traps and monsters against like if they're playing Draco cards as well.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's just like, so they attach Whiptails and stuff to make your guy, to make like Dryden bigger than Masterpiece and then attack over it. But obviously you hold your Masterpiece pop for the big guy, so my body deals with that. Like that's kind of probably what they were thinking, like when they did that maybe.
I guess, but my Masterpiece is always unaffected by spells. And
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's actually a good point. So next question here, do you think after this event, since True Draco Zoo won, do you think cards like Ghost Ogre, Kaijus will be played more commonly now? Chester?
I can't really say because like this like Nationals is over. Like, what is there else to look forward to other than links? Which I have no idea how that works. So I'm not really sure. I guess like
That's probably a good point because like links totally changes everything. But apparently this deck's like really good in links anyway. So
yeah, it just all really depends. And I mean, don't know for sure until we know what this ban list and like what all this link stuff does. So
yeah.
I mean, if they stay the same, I mean, yeah, like Kaiju seem pretty good. I haven't been Kaiju at all event, so that's that. So
Patrick, someone's asking, did you consider siding Twin over Cosmic because it'll let you draw cards with Heritage against Draco variants when you pop their spell and trap, and is objectively more useful versus Pure?
Yeah, so I did, but there are like a couple things about that. Is one is like this is kind of a combo deck, so this is probably the biggest reason I didn't. But like I definitely heavily considered it, and like up until even the Friday night, I was undecided on which one I wanted to play. But like it came down to it. This is still like a combo deck, and I still like all my plays require 2 cards except the zoo cards. So I really don't want to be giving up like an additional card when all my plays already take 2 cards.
Ed, I don't know, I think you answered the question about Maiden, not Mariamne, but someone's asking how you felt about Mariamne.
Oh, I didn't play that card. My deck was 42 cards, not 43. I'm actually looking at the stream right now.
Oh, the win one?
Yeah, I played Majesty Maiden. I didn't play the thing that when it pops it searches.
Wait. So did you play Majesty Maiden or did you play Mariamne, the big one or the small one?
I played the small one, Majesty Maiden.
Oh shit! I think I might have made a mistake there. Okay, so it's 42 cards, not 43, right?
Yeah.
Whoops.
Not that much of a degenerate.
Okay, yeah. Ignore that stream. Right. Let's see. Any thoughts on pendulums? We kind of talked about that a little bit. So if you maybe missed that, then
That deck carrier didn't exist.
Did any of you guys ever break by drawing too many true Draco monsters?
Can't say It never happened.
There was one time I drew a bunch of True Draco monsters, but I had Barrage, so like it was really good.
There's so many good spells in this
like,
deck.
True Draco, like the heavy True Draco hands can still like let you draw 2 off of Heritage, so like you can often draw into zoo cards because that's what's left in your deck at that point. But it still happened like a couple times where you just drew like awkward combinations, like all spell and traps and no monsters, or all monsters and no spell and traps.
Yeah,
it's not super common, but it does happen.
Just one little final question here as well. I think you kind of answered this earlier, but just in case anyone missed it, how come you moved away from True Kings, Pat?
I mean, my biggest thing is like, I mean, VFD is just kind of like an all-in kind of card. Like they could just summon a zoo and then make Trident and pop it kind of thing. And he took a lot of resources to make it. I don't know. I really like the water one's effect. I really like the earth one's effect. I really like the wind one's effect, but then there's nothing to actually do with them once they're on the field. I didn't really want to make calamities like that. I really just didn't. Being level 9 is awkward, like, and calamities wasn't really what I was looking for. Yeah, and it also makes you weaker to barrier.
Yeah,
that's another cool thing about this deck is like where barrier is like skip your turn against pure zoo. Against this deck, even if they barrier the zoo cards, they might hit like 1 or 2 cards in your hand, but you still have like the Draco engine to keep playing your turn with.
Someone's asking, I don't know if like you know this person, Chester, but they're asking, what would you side against Cosmo?
Oh man. Let's see. Well,
do you know this guy?
No.
Is there a backstory to this?
No.
Oh, okay. Let's just ignore that then. I thought like it was a friend or something. Okay.
Fun fact: tried to make Cosmos work for this event.
Yeah. By the way, Pat, someone asked, have you got any more sick Ignite combos?
I haven't updated my Ignite combo. I feel like you could Zoo combo now. Like that sounds cool too.
So I think that basically does it. So we've been here for about an hour. I'd like to thank all three of my guests here so much for taking the time out of the day to come join me. I really appreciate you guys helping out and speaking to the community and stuff. So yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks to you guys for coming up. Make sure you guys check out Pro Play Games and stuff on YouTube, on Facebook, for dice rolls, whatever you need. Eds with Team Jobber. Make sure you subscribe to Team Jobber on YouTube. Chester, I don't know too much about your team. Can you just like give us like a little shout out or something before we send off?
My team is from the Nashville area. We're sponsored by TNOG, Next Level Gaming. We're just a small 8-player team. I mean, we have other guys on our team, but they contribute in different ways. But yeah, we just now started like becoming like a team, not like maybe, I don't know, 5 months ago. Steadily building up. So hopefully, after this, Nationals win, we start becoming more known. So, but yeah.
All right, awesome. So yeah, that's all the shout outs, guys. Thanks everyone on Twitch for joining. Thank you to Patrick, top 32, Ed for top 64, and of course the new national champion, Chester Henson. Good luck at Worlds, of course. If you guys enjoy these streams, please make sure to subscribe on Twitch or leave a little tip. It does go a long way, and it means we can do more of these more often for every event and stuff like that. So this is us signing off. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.